Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. Welcome to Aventus's latest webinar. The clock is ticking on third-party cookies. Is your brand ready? I'm excited to share with you our presenters, Martha Avilles, the Chief Marketing Officer at Aventus, and our founder, Alan Vey. I'm your host, Nicole Poulos. I'm the Product Marketing Manager here, and will be guiding everyone through the webinar as Martha speaks. A little bit about Aventus. So Aventus is the only AI-powered blockchain as a service platform that enables global brands and lifestyle companies to deploy tokenization assets rapidly. We've helped hundreds of brands across the spectrum in both lifestyle and supply chain environments deploy blockchain and Web3 technologies and ecosystems on demand. And here's a few of our customers below.
Thank you, Nicole. We are so happy to have you guys. I'm Martha Avilles. I am here to talk to you about cookie deprecation and how we can help. I know over the last 3 or 4 years as a marketing leader, the thing that has kept me up at night and has been the most stressful is that we don't have a lot of predictability in the funnel, right? Prior to 2020, there was a lot of I understand that in Q4, our sales are going to do this. This is the type of conversion rates we get. This is what's working through ad channels. This is the kind of personalization we can do, all of that. And it hasn't been that way. And on top of that, Google is throwing deprecation of cookies at us, which is fine. We're going to handle it, but it can be stressful. More than half of brands today are unprepared for this. We depend on cookies as companies and brands. And so we're going to talk about how we can help you there. So the problem, cookies are going away. Safari and Firefox already got rid of the cookies, and Google, as you can see, has the lion's share of the market. Customers continue to expect their experiences to improve, and they want their values to align with your brand. They want that trust. However, with cookies going away, we're losing precious data. So how are we going to tackle this? There are 3 types of cookies here. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but just know that there are some essential and some non-essential cookies. The non-essential cookies are the ones that probably marketers use the most, right? They're the ones that are going to help you understand what your buyers are looking at, what kind of targeting, what is the product. I'll talk a little bit about a recent purchase that I made that took me a long time, and maybe some of you are just going to call me a late adopter, and that's all right. So I'm going to Costa Rica in a little bit, and I felt like I needed a hiking sandal. Never thought in my life I'd need a hiking sandal, but this is what happens when you're 43. And so I started looking at Tevas, and then I started getting Reef retargeting ads. And then I started, I was just doing research. I was trying to understand what is the most fashion forward hiking sandal, which sounds counterintuitive, I understand. And what's the brand that I'm going to trust, and I'm not going to like sprain my ankle or lose the sandal or what have you. And as soon as I started doing that, I mean, the decision process was probably 3 or 4 weeks, but I went to different websites. I was looking for this product. Obviously, the website was storing that cookie. I now cannot get on Instagram or Facebook or even open up Google without seeing a hiking sandal from brands that you've heard of and brands that you haven't heard of. I've already purchased the hiking sandal and it's still happening. But this is how they get you, right? I got one of those, hey, you left this in your cart from Reef, and I got 10% off. And if you give me your text, if you give me your cell phone number, we'll text you a coupon code, right? You get stalked by your shopping cart, and it's wonderful sometimes, and it's also a pain in the butt sometimes. So it's marketing, but all of that happens and is driven by cookies. Alan, have you ever or recently purchased anything that is stalking you currently and getting your attention everywhere you go?
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously there've been a variety of products, but there's one that I think particularly applies to what we're talking about here. I've been on a bit of a sort of health optimization journey. So with living in Dubai, it's going into summer now. I live in a metal building in a flat, basically. So it gets really warm in the mornings when the sun comes up. So I wanted to buy one of those kind of water-cooled mattress toppers that you put in your bed. It's supposed to really help your sleep, all of that. So I did a bunch of research into it. And one of the products that was seen to be the market leader, called 8 Sleep, is endorsed by like Musk and Zuckerberg, looked like the right candidate. And I keep getting advertised that product, but every time I've gone to try and buy it, they don't deliver to Dubai. So I've ultimately bought a different product, but still that keeps retargeting me. So I guess it's an example of how that personalization element is missing a little bit here.
It really matters. We'll talk to their marketing team for sure. We'll call the brand immediately. All right, so why the revolt against third-party cookies? Obviously, data breaches have been affecting companies and brands for years, but there's also the aspect of consumers wanting to own their own data now and getting annoyed by either brands constantly retargeting them or the data breaches or the security issues. If you guys have an iPhone, I don't know about Androids, but I work on an iPhone, and anytime I download an app, it'll ask me if I want the app to track my data or not. So that consumer choice is becoming more and more important. And the dichotomy here is that 41% of marketers are thinking that, this is going to be our biggest challenge, upcoming challenge, is how to market without the cookies. So the personalization and privacy continues to be a paradox. We've been talking about this dichotomy, right? Consumers want more from their brands. They want a more engaging experience. They have higher expectations. It's table stakes to be personalized, to understand my preferences, to know where I live. To Alan's example, he wanted to get this product, but it's not available in Dubai. So how do you deal with that, right? Privacy is an issue, but we still want trust. Alan, can you tell us a little bit about Web 2, which is kind of where we are today, the world that we live in today, and what are the shortcomings there and how some of these things are driven?
Absolutely. So, I mean, trust in the digital context is a challenge, right? I mean, even when we saw in the early days of online purchases rolling out, it wasn't until the consumer protections came in place and you had your 14 days money back guarantee or whatever that people really started purchasing online. And some of those problems, they've been solved mostly, but fundamentally with the technology, there are still some issues. The way this has been solved to a satisfactory degree in the world of Web 2 is with intermediaries. We have to get these sort of centralized big entities that you can place trust in, that have good brand awareness, and hopefully no hacks or any compromises of data. And then you have to kind of put your trust in that. But of course, we're here today to discuss kind of evolution of this technology and how some of this can fundamentally change with the new tool belt that is now available.
Yeah, let's talk about why trust is a must, right? Here's some more stats. 71% of consumers want to purchase from brands they trust and say it's more important than ever. And 60% are more likely to purchase. Why did I buy Tevas? I've never had these sandals. I used to say I would never wear something like that, but as they say, youth is wasted on the young. It was the most trusted brand that I saw. And it was the one that I was like, well, I'm not going to sprain my ankle in this if I'm climbing a rock and then getting into a waterfall kind of thing. So trust is imperative for brands worldwide. So what does a cookieless future mean for your brand? And how can you get first party and zero party data? We're going to help you. Alan has some great examples coming up, but know that 83% of marketers are relying on those cookies to drive that personalized journey. And sometimes you don't realize how long people are in your funnel evaluating a product, whether it's B2B or B2C. And you don't want your consumers to go elsewhere, and you don't want your growth to stall. You want to continue to drive revenue. Speaking of revenue, as cookies deprecate, 152 billion, which is a shocking amount of money, of advertising dollars will be lost due to this third-party cookie deprecation. When tracking is less effective, advertising dollars are wasted. The bed cooling system that Alan mentioned earlier, that I already forgot their brand, so clearly their marketing is not working. They're wasting advertising dollars on Alan, and we don't want that. As a marketing leader, that's another thing that will keep me up at night, is making sure that I am reaching my target markets as effectively as I can, and all business leaders want that, right? And what we want here at Aventus is to help your company grow. So we want to make sure that that personalization is targeted and correct. Without the data, the personalization is going to suffer. 46% of customers are more likely to buy when they're given a personalized experience. I have a great example about that. Personalization, as I mentioned earlier, is a standard in business. 61% of consumers expect it now. And 42% of marketers currently don't necessarily have a strategy of how to adapt. So I get reached out to on LinkedIn a lot. I'm sure a lot of marketing leaders and business leaders alike do. And, you know, you get 20, 30 cold outbound outreaches a day. And look, I'm not knocking it. I realize everyone has a job to do. But I don't typically respond because that could be a full-time job just responding. I recently engaged with a tool. Well, it's been a couple of years now, but I engaged with someone that was providing a marketing tool because they personalized their message to me. So not only did they reach out with a problem, but he also had looked through my LinkedIn post, found a picture of my dog, made it a meme. And of course I was going to respond to that, right? But that personalized experience that made me feel like this person cared enough to do this, it really helped engage me. And that was a B2B example. All right, so there is time to prepare. As we mentioned earlier, Google a couple of weeks ago, I think, or maybe it was late last week, announced that instead of at the end of 2024 cookies deprecating, it's going to be somewhere in 2025, but we know they're going away. Firefox has already done it. Safari's already done it. Data privacy concerns are at an all-time high. So let's talk about how brands are planning to do this and what is the value exchange. There's different ways for us to get information from our customers, providing information sharing incentives, creating a first-party data strategy. Alan will talk to you about that in a little bit. Creating an omni-channel data strategy, right? There's a lot of different channels out there that people can convert on. There's multiple ways to reach your customers where they are. Second-party data sharing agreements, et cetera, et cetera. What we want you to take away from this is that the cornerstone of the effort should be able to create and sustain consumer relationships that promote value. It's about creating a flywheel. Customers that are out there advocating for you and your products, like maybe TiVo will get a lead from this webinar, but if you've got customers out there talking about your products and your brands, one, that's priceless marketing and word of mouth marketing, and two, it is the most effective. So that's definitely what you want. Now I'm gonna let Alan talk to you a little bit about Web3 and we will go from there. Alan, over to you.
Thank you. So yeah, let's start with a definition, right? What is Web3? Just so that we're all speaking the same language. Web 1 is sort of defined as read-only internet. There were servers and you could type in a URL or maybe use the early phases of Google and search engines and retrieve data. And it was very black and white. Things weren't really moving around. It was really just reading information. Web 2 is where we kind of saw the explosion of user-generated content. This was reading, but also writing back. So creating content, other innovations allowed for more colorful browser interfaces. There were more animations and whatnot. And it really kind of took it to more of a platform play where you didn't have to have a lot of technical knowledge, but you could write information back to the internet for others to consume. And Web 3 is now defined as read and write, of course, but also own. So natively being able to represent ownership online, which means scarcity and all of that kind of fun that you can have in the world of sort of incentivizing people economically to participate with different systems. That's why this technology is so powerful, especially in the world of marketing, where it's so much about dealing with people's incentives on why they would want to buy something, identifying trends, and helping deliver, essentially match people with products or services in the most efficient way, right? So what this technology does, Web3 is the umbrella term for this ownership ability in the internet. Blockchain is the name of the actual technology, the product or group of products that allow you to do this. Now, key properties on blockchain are kind of privacy, anonymity to a degree. There is transparency around what's happening, but not to the degree of personally identifiable information. And then it's tamper-proof. these things are essentially creating trust between parties, where parties can directly interface with each other without a trusted intermediary. The network and all the kind of maths and cryptography around that secures it automatically. So how does this apply to what we're talking about, right? I think it was SAP who coined the term, the wallet is the new cookie. So wallets is basically just another name for your account on the blockchain. And that account has a record of your purchasing history or your interactions with this ownership economy that's digitally represented. So think of it in the world of data. You have the ability to decide who gets access to your wallet data, called zero-party data, where you decide to share your data with somebody else. So you don't need big trusted intermediaries like Facebook or Google who aggregate data, sell it to advertisers, and try and match advertisers and individuals. You can actually create a system that is just as efficient on the micro scale, where advertisers can directly interface with individuals and get that data. But the control sits with the individual. You decide who gets to access your data, and you decide when they no longer get to access that data, and you revoke that permission. So very much in line with the latest kind of data standards and whatnot.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Here are some brands that are doing some really cool Web3 experiences. And some of these are surprising to me, like IKEA. I'll get to that example. But L'Oreal, a cosmetics brand, they've adopted AR and VR across a lot of their product offerings. I'm sure you guys have seen filters where you can try on different makeup looks or your different hair color, which consumers like. Understanding offerings, and to Alan's point, it's about meeting people where they are, and so that really helps build brand awareness as well, and some sort of trust, because L'Oreal is doing it and not asking necessarily for anything. They just get to have it. Lacoste hosted a virtual digital collectible scavenger hunt for a campaign launch, and that increased a lot of brand engagement and really brought a brand that has been around for a really long time kind of to the forefront in Web3. And then IKEA, I don't know if you've seen this. I've seen it even like on Target or Amazon, where they have like a VR tool that on your phone, you can just say, how does this product look in a room? And you hold up your camera phone and you can see, what the chair, the blanket, the bed, whatever it will look like. So pretty cool Web3 stuff is coming and continues to be on the horizon. We've said this before, I'll just mention it again, that building that long-term engagement and trust is crucial. Your best customers and your best marketers are your best customers. You want them happy. You want them coming back to buy more, advocating for you out there, and continuing to buy. It'll drive revenue as well. So super helpful. Alan's going to talk to you about a really cool example that we have, a Web3 example of one of our customers. Alan, I'll let you take it over.
Thank you. Yes, well, the last section was a bit more technical in nature. Here we can see how it really kind of comes to life. So one of our clients at Aventus, Beatport, for those who don't know, Beatport is one of the largest players in the electronic music space. So hundreds of thousands of labels, some of the biggest acts you've ever heard of, use their platform to essentially create and distribute their music. And they wanted to look at how they can add additional benefits or additional channels for that fan artist engagement. So they've launched a variety of different artists through here. One of the recent ones, Disclosure, who are sort of a Grammy award-winning duo, they did something really interesting, leveraging a lot of the latest technology. So they used generative AI to create, I think it was 1,000 unique versions of one of their songs. So whoever came in and purchased it got their own version of that song. And the way that song was represented is as a digital collectible, or NFT to use the technical term. So what this marketplace that we've provided Beatport has allowed their clients to do is issue out these songs with this kind of novel technology, and then do a variety of things to improve that fan-artist relationship. So for example, you can create token-gated experiences where only those who own the songs can gain access to this online. Today, we already have things like paywalls. If you pay, then you get through. Think of it like a paywall, but where your payment is being a member in the club and your membership is represented by this digital token. So that allows you to do a lot of things. Martha was just talking about how your most loyal customers, your best customers are your best advocates. When you can really reward those fans, obviously it applies across any industry, when you can really award them and give them this deeper context, a deeper relationship with the artist, both in the digital context and kind of in the real world where only the token holders get access to events, or you actually get certain raffles that go into that community, then you can really drive that engagement and ultimately just create a more loyal fan base. So what do the different products at Aventus look like? We're essentially, what we try to do is help our customers with a fully vertically integrated technology solution. So there's no need, it doesn't matter what you're doing in Web3, really everything from our perspective is tokenization, whether that is digital collectibles, non-fungible tokens like we spoke about before, or fungible tokens if you're thinking of a loyalty point or something like that. Each song is different, it's non-fungible, every loyalty point is the same as any other, so it's fungible. That's at the fundamental level, the way we kind of look at any problem when helping a client map it out. So maybe clients want to use existing public blockchains that are already deployed. They don't have any specific requirements. We have the Aventus network, which allows clients to do so. But some clients will have regulatory requirements or other restrictions. That means they need a more bespoke element there. So again, we provide the sort of automated tools to deploy those sort of products with the customization needed. Then we have a bunch of things that we call middleware, essentially. This is the boring infrastructure side of computer science, but essentially what it allows us as a business to do is give the service level guarantees that these businesses need. You don't want your customers coming to your website and your website's down. You don't want them coming to your website and there's been a hack. So making sure that you have this robust fundamental technology, that's how we can give those guarantees. And so, to date, touch wood, we have never broken any of the guarantees that we've provided our clients. Now, going one step higher, we get kind of into the application domain. So this is where you see the sort of 4 top elements here. The NFT management platform, this is basically where the entry point to many of these systems is. So a customer will be able to come in and represent their items, their digital items. This is deployed within their environment, very simple and easy, and it abstracts away the complexity of dealing with many of these things I've kind of gone through today. Then on the user side, anybody that they're distributing these tokens, these collectibles, these digital assets to, users receive these in wallets. Now, there've been a bunch of problems within the industry historically where the user experience hasn't been great, like with any new technology. People have lost their passwords and they've lost access to their account. Our solutions make sure that whilst we retain the fundamental principles of this technology and the powerful innovation, you don't have to have those kind of user experience limitations. And then this can be applied when you have all of this technology together, you end up with the ability to do better traceability and product authentication. There is an audit trail that the right people with the permission to view it can see. We spoke before about the wallet being the new cookie. You want to have that trail of how these items have moved around, what has happened in that supply chain, and the certificates of authenticity to really prove that that is what's happened and not that you're dealing with something fraudulent. So at a high level, that gives a bit of an overview of how our tech stack works.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. All right, guys, we're wrapping up here. We want to help you develop a winning strategy. We've helped a lot of different customers on, I think it was our second slide. We're in a lot of different industries, consumer brands, outside of consumer brands as well. We're here to help you. There's a ton of statistics here of why this personalization and building trust is important, but know that consumer expectations are changing. And whether you're a B2B brand or a B2C brand, people want that personalization and they want to be targeted appropriately, and they will buy from you if they're able to start building that relationship with you, and all of that happens online. So we're really glad you joined us. Please let us know if you have any questions or reach out. You can always come to our website, aventus.io, or you can reach out to Alan or myself on LinkedIn. Yeah, it was great to have you. Nicole, anything else?
No, we're so thankful and excited to see you on the other side. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. We're happy to help you with your strategy and tackle your digital transformation. Thank you, everyone.